Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the April 20th, 2026 council meeting. Councillor Donaldson, could you provide the territorial acknowledgement, please?
Thank you, Mayor Little. We acknowledge with gratitude that our business operations take place on the traditional territories of the Shano and Sauk First Nations. The district recognizes and respects Indigenous peoples, past, present, and future, and is committed to ongoing learning and relationship building in the spirit of truth and reconciliation, while honoring the enduring stewardship of these lands since time immemorial.
Thank you. Council, we have an agenda before you. Could I have a motion to adopt, please? Moved by Councillor Schuken, second by Councillor Donaldson. All in favor? Opposed? No one opposed. Okay, let's move on to our presentations. First off, we have the District of Metchosin draft consolidated financial statements year end to December 31st, 2025. We have a presentation from Ms. Lenora Lee from KPMG Auditors. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Good evening. Thanks for having me at your meeting tonight. Just wanted to provide a few comments on the financial statements included in your package as agenda item 9A. KPMG, we have substantially completed our audit of the District of Metchosin's financial statements, and we met with council earlier to discuss the detailed findings and audit results. We have prepared a clean and unqualified audit opinion, which indicates there's no material errors in the financial statements. There's no outstanding matters related to the completion of the audit other than acceptance of the financial statements by council. Our areas of focus in the audit include work over key transaction streams, including revenue, deferred revenue, government grants, salaries and wages, expenses, and the capital assets transaction cycles. These consolidated financial statements also include the district's proportionate share of West Shore Parks and Rec, approximately 7.3% ownership at the end of December 2025. The total financial assets of the district at the end of the year were 28 million and capital assets were 35 million. Financial assets increased during the year due to a surplus that's held in both cash and investments. Total liabilities were 4.7 million at the end of the year, a decrease from fewer invoices being outstanding at the end of the year and use of some of the grant funds that had been received in previous years, for example, capacity funding for local government housing initiatives. Capital assets decreased during the year due to amortization of 1.4 million and reinvestment in new assets during the year of approximately 1 million. Additions in fiscal 2025 related to road work, particularly on Lindholm, Metchosin Road, Briarwood, as well as work on the Municipal Hall roof. The annual surplus for the current year, according to accounting rules, was 1.2 million. This represents a positive variance to budget of 26,000 and a decrease from last year's surplus of 2 million. Revenues decreased approximately 3.4% this year due to a reduction primarily in investment income as interest rates did decline in fiscal 2025. Expenses increased approximately 6.4% this year due to scheduled increases in salaries as well as continuing inflationary impacts on most goods and services, particularly around protective services. The district's accumulated surplus is included in Note 9 to the financial statements, which notes 58 million of accumulated surplus. This is a measure of the district's overall net worth since incorporation, and it's made up of mostly monies that have already been spent and invested in capital assets, for example, 35 million of the 58. $13 million is money set aside in reserves. These are monies for future expenses and capital replacements, as well as statutory reserves that are required by law. There's $8 million of restricted operating surplus. These are for items such as policing, recreation, and unspent Growing Communities Fund grants, leaving about $2.1 million of unrestricted operating surplus. That represents about 26% of annual expenses, and that is a financially healthy position to be in for things such as contingencies, unexpected events that may arise during the course of the year, in order for the district to continue to stabilize while there's an adjustment period as needed if expenses were to increase unexpectedly or if revenues were to decline unexpectedly. Those were the highlights I wanted to note in the financial statements. I wanted to express our appreciation to staff for the assistance with the audit process. It is a very clean audit process as presented in our audit report, and definitely lots of effort on both the audit front as well as the management team to get to this point today. So happy to address any questions.
Thank you. Thank you for that. It's good to have a clean audit. And thank you also to FIRST staff for collaborating with KPMG in their audit process. So Council, does anybody have any questions? Councillor Shukin.
Thank you, Mayor Little. Through you to Ms. Lee. Thank you very much for all your work. And I'm wondering if you could just put in like everyday language what a clean and unqualified audit opinion is. And I believe it means we're doing pretty well in terms of the district's processes, but maybe you can.
Correct. A clean and unqualified opinion is the best position to be in an audit report perspective. It means that there's no significant or material errors that we've noted in these statements. The district is following all of the accounting rules that it needs to be following as a local government, and there's no unadjusted audit errors that we've noted in the course of our work that haven't been reflected in these statements.
Councillor Gray.
To the chair, thanks again, Ms. Lee, for the work you've done. I just had a question. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but our surplus is declining, our annual surplus, and that to me suggests that we have less money to put into reserves as a result of tightening our budget. Is that an accurate take?
Yes, the current year surplus was 1.2 million compared to last year's 2 million. And so of the annual surplus, a portion of that every year is placed into reserved and set aside for future savings, things such as capital replacement. So there's less of a pool to be able to place into reserves with a lower annual surplus.
Thank you.
Councillor Donaldson.
Thank you. I don't have any questions, but I just want to make a comment that we've invested in a new accounting program, and it sounds like it's made everybody's job a little more efficient and swift and better prepared for the auditors, I suspect.
Yes, it was a big lift in the current year to implement a new software. It does allow for more timely preparation of financial statements as well as more real time. So you should be able to obtain more up-to-date information throughout the year rather than a number of manual adjustments that are required to get to the set of statements that you have today.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? No, with that, thank you very much, Lenora. That's wonderful. Thank you. Okay, next we have another presentation. This is from the Metchosin Seniors Association, the 2025 annual report. This is a presentation by Deirdre Chettelmer. Welcome, Deirdre.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Metchosin Seniors Association, thank you for the opportunity to provide an overview of the 2025 annual report submitted to Council a few weeks ago. The report is divided into 3 parts according to our funding streams. Though separate, there is synergy amongst them. The first part addresses the services the Metchosin Seniors Association is required to deliver as per the agreement with the District of Metchosin. The second, services delivered as per the agreement with the Pacific Centre of Family Services. And third, what the Metchosin Seniors Association was able to accomplish through grant funding. Part 1, people over the age of 65 comprise 26% of Metchosin's population. The national average is 18.9%. Providing the services and supports that enable seniors to enable at home, safely and engaged in their community is a commendable and wise investment. The District of Metchosin has a 2-year agreement with the MSA to provide the following. The board has a contract in place with Yvonne Cottrell, who managed the Seniors Resource Centre throughout 2025. The centre was open 16 hours per week, Tuesday to Friday, 11 to 3, with the exception of 2 weeks, one in the summer and one between Christmas and New Year's. In 2025, the manager received 696 requests for information, and there were 342 walk-ins to the centre. This is more than double the number we received last year. The services and information requests ranged from transportation, someone who would be able to do some handiwork, housekeeping, and tech support, to what to do with bats who had taken up residence. Communication with MSA membership was achieved through a regular column in the news, a newsletter distributed to all members by email or mailed through Canada Post for those without email, the website, Facebook, and regular contact in person and phone with seniors identified as benefiting from ongoing support. Connections were also maintained with local, community, regional, and provincial partners. Seniors were provided with printed resource materials and received assistance obtaining information online and completing online forms. The manager of the SRC and the fire chief worked together to ensure each was aware of seniors who would require help in the event of an emergency. The MSA supported the fire department's initiative of a one-day vaccination clinic held on November 1st, when 385 COVID and flu vaccinations were administered. Members of the Emergency Operations Program were present at the clinic and provided information about emergency preparedness and neighborhood pods. We continued to recruit members, 333 as of December 31st, and volunteers. The gourmet dinner was once again our major fundraiser, yielding $4,480. The Holiday Lights Tour, made possible through the generosity of LA Limos, raised $650, and total donations, including those for program delivery, amounted to just over $8,000, an increase of about $2,500 over last year. Over 20 educational, recreational, and health events were organized throughout 2025. Many of these events provided an opportunity to listen to and consult with seniors. A highlight of the year was a contract made with Lester B. Pearson College of the Pacific for use of their bus and driver twice a month. Driver Jeff Taylor volunteered to drive up to 12 seniors to various destinations such as Royal Bay, the Souk Fine Art Show, Hatley Park, and the Rocky Point Bird Observatory. In response to a need, a grief support group was introduced and met once a month, in addition to the monthly meeting held for family caregiver support. We kept council informed through MSA reports submitted to council, working with our council liaison and the fire chief, as well as attending healthy community meetings. On behalf of the MSA, I would like to thank the District of Metchosin for its support. It is greatly appreciated and a demonstration of its commitment to maintaining Metchosin as an age-friendly community. And then just briefly, the other two funding streams is the agreement, an annual agreement with the Pacific Center of Family Services to offer a Better at Home program, for which we received $15,600 in 2025. The Better at Home services provided were transportation, wellness checks, home visits, and new late in the year was light housekeeping. The manager coordinated volunteers to provide 152 rides last year. Approximately 500 hours were given and 3,282 kilometers covered, a distance equivalent to driving to Saskatoon and back. There were 133 wellness checks and 27 home visits. 6 seniors qualified for subsidized light housekeeping. And the last part, in June, we were invited to submit a proposal to PCFSA that would support transportation for Metchosin seniors. The proposal was successful, and MSA was awarded $15,000 from the United Way's Healthy Aging in Motion grant, which was used to organize safe driving presentations, online driving courses, one-on-one driver coaching, and provisions for transporting seniors with mobility challenges. The one-on-one driver coaching was particularly successful, allowing the seniors participating to refresh their skills and gain confidence. The grant also provided funds for increased administration costs. It cannot be emphasized enough how important access to safe, reliable transportation is for seniors, particularly in a rural community such as ours. It is key to independence and participation. Seniors who stop driving are almost twice as likely to experience depression, and their risk of mortality and entering long-term care increases significantly. 2025 finished on solid financial footing. Expenses were 99.7% of what we budgeted. Revenue was more than budgeted, and the reason for this was the receipt of the $15,000 United Way Healthy Aging in Motion grant, as well as increased donations and fundraising and fewer expenditures than forecast. In conclusion, I'd like to provide a few comments received from members. It's like a dream come true to come down to you guys for help with these things. In this case, it was the homeowners grant. It's amazing what you do for the community. The garden tour at Hatley Castle was wonderful. It's so great, all the things you are offering. I spent years alone inside, and now I'm meeting a lot of people, and it is so much better for me. Thank you again for your ongoing support, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Okay, Council, do you have any questions for Deirdre? Councillor Shukin.
Thank you, Mayor Little, through you. Ms. Chettelberg, thank you very much for the presentation. And I have only recently been sitting in on the meetings of the Seniors Association. What I understand, you're all a very humble lot, maybe with one exception, but what I understand is a lot of the work you've done is pretty cutting edge and leading. Like the work that's been going on here in Metchosin for quite a while is stellar in terms of the example it sets for the region. Do you agree with that, or?
Oh, I think that's fair to say, and why long ago Metchosin was, well, not long ago, but some time ago, Metchosin was recognized as, I think, the first, or among the first age-friendly communities. The services and support and information we're providing, the connections that are being provided are very much in line with what is now being called social prescribing, that is being taken up in a bit throughout the province by Better at Home programs, and they've appointed a community connector to do this work that, in fact, the Metchosin Seniors Association has been doing for some time.
One other question, and this is a great segue into the question I have. My lived experience with the seniors in my life is they often need some nudging toward getting help and seeing the opportunities. And it was interesting to hear the quote that you just read. Do you have any ideas about how to reach some of the other seniors who aren't aware or connected with what goes on at CERC? And sorry, it's probably an ongoing question the members ask themselves, but or the executive does.
It is.
Yeah.
We do continue to consider how we can extend the reach to, particularly to people who may be feeling a bit reluctant or shy about stepping forward. We rely a lot on kind neighbors, the fire chief in visits who may notice on an emergency call when somebody's fallen, and just very quietly working with people and building relationships and trust. But it is something we continue to think about how we could do better.
Anybody else? Councillor Donaldson.
Well, thank you very much for your report. Certainly the services have increased over a number of years. I remember my son being involved with, he's 27 now, so when he was a teenager, involved with what was called Geeks and Geezers. He didn't like the geeks part, but he'd help people with their computers as a young lad in his teens. So certainly you've come a long way, and there are a lot of programs I see advertising all the time. First of all, I'm pleased to see all of that, but I don't know that it's just age specific, as I do hear from people in the community who are, tapping into things like some of the grief, how to, manage grief as being a caregiver. So those of us who are left behind, preparing wills, that sort of stuff, the estate management, navigating dementia. Those are real life things that many of us are trying to navigate in our community. So I appreciate the services that you are offering, and I don't think they're just age specific. I think they're for junior, seniors, and maybe younger than some of us. So thank you for doing that, and also really pleased you've got a good relationship with Pearson's bus. I've been watching seniors now going to the library, which is great. So we did have a librarian come in and speak about different services, so that's good as well, because it just keeps people connected to the regional activities as well. So good for you. Thank you.
Councillor Gray, did you want to comment?
Yeah, I'm not sure I have a question, but through the chair, just commendation to the group. Thanks, Judy, for all the work you're doing and the work that the Senior Centre are doing. I'm struck that, like the big health one, I think for me is the vaccination clinic that happens. But when I look through the work that you're doing, it's all health related in one way or another in terms of supporting people in the community. And I'm struck by this pretty cool thing of coming up with this grief support group. What a nice thing to add to the range of, services is the right word, but the range of activities that you conduct. So thanks for all that you're doing. I was also interested to learn, reading the material, how the gourmet dinner fundraiser is your largest fundraiser. I thought, holy crow, isn't that cool? I mean, a lot of work goes into it, but I know it's enjoyed by those who go and those of us who dream that one day we might win.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Deirdre, you mentioned that this year you had an increase in calls and walk-ins. Do you have any information on that? Why was there an increase that you haven't seen other years?
I think perhaps it was in part to the fact that the year before was a bit of a transition year for us. Our manager left, and we had a couple of people filling in before Yvonne joined us. And I think so that may in part have contributed to that. I think also it is just the trust and the relationship building and people having the confidence to reach out to the center for help.
Great. Thank you for your good work and thank you for your annual report.
Thank you.
Okay, next we will move along to public participation. Members of the public are welcome to come to the microphone. You have 4 minutes. There's a light on the table. It starts at green at the 4-minute mark and it goes yellow when you have 30 seconds remaining. Everybody's welcome. If you could state your name and your road. Thank you.
I'm sure I will pay for that later when she gets back on me again. Anyways, Kiara Kahakawilla, Perry Crossroad. Two things. First, tonight here as the president of the Metchosin Community Association, it is National Volunteer Week this week, and I would like to invite all members of council. I know there are 2 members of council that have so far volunteered to come and help us with intake, the actual garage sale, and final cleanup of the Mighty Metchosin garage sale, which will be happening May 23rd and 24th. So there is your formal and official invitation to come and spend the week with us, or the weekend. Quick question in relationship, now this is now on my own personal time, regarding the financial statements. One of the things that I couldn't find on it in the Sophie report was the statement and schedules of financial information. So in looking at this, I'm just wondering where that information might be, where I could possibly find it without having to go through an FOI request.
So the statement of financial information will come out when our annual report comes out. Once our annual report and the information regarding the financials go to the auditors within that annual report, and once that is, the statement of financial information will be released to the public.
Okay, it's just in the past it has been included in this information and you've got it in your package tonight and I just don't see it there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just clarification, we don't have it in our package. The Sophie report is not in our package.
No, it's not out yet.
Okay. Just to
So that is the statement of financial information, ensures transparency with the public. All of the finances are released to the public, including wages above a certain amount, as well as council remuneration, that kind of thing. Okay. Okay, seeing,
Mayor, council, staff, citizens, Dave Saunders, Sioux Road. I'm speaking on behalf of my family. So we've lived here in Metchosin most of our lives. I plan to raise my family here, 3 daughters, 2 grandsons now. And I bought property with my brother when I was 16 years old. And it just seems I've lived in Metchosin for the majority of my life, and everything seems to be it's taken away from us. Servicing levels, we don't even have a gas station anymore, going back, way back. But costs continue to rise. And I watched your budget meeting, your committee of the whole, just the other day, and I'm concerned. I have written to the mayor about the RCMP build, and I'll state very clearly that as a risk, there's a municipal police unit agreement, but there's no financial agreement associated with the new build. There's no new rental agreement associated to the new build. That's a tax risk, in my opinion. KPMG should be notified of that, because that's a cost that's going to be increased without a doubt in my mind. At that meeting, the committee of the whole, I'll just make some reference. Councillor Gray said, it sounds like we're going off a financial cliff related to our reserves. We're drawing on them again and again. There was another statement by the mayor that said maybe we need to rezone some properties to light industrial, which I think would be the end of rural Metchosin. for me, I don't think that if we have a plan to look at our costs, that will be the end of rural Chosen. Because at the end of the day, it's going to force me to do something that I don't want to do. In that I don't want to develop my properties, but because I want to raise my family on my properties, I'll be forced to look at development. I'm not the only one in the Chosen that will be forced to look at development. I can give you several examples of other jurisdictions been forced into that situation because of costs. I did like your budget meeting at the Committee of the Whole. I like the fact that you took the time to explain to a citizen that didn't really understand the budget. I don't see that in other jurisdictions, and I compliment you on that. It was a very well-run meeting. That gentleman left educated, and I can't say that for a lot of other municipalities I go to, and I represent my family. I think we all have to work together on this to make sure that the Chosen is sustainable. Otherwise, we're going to lose our rural character. We've just had some meetings previous where they tried to take out some of our rural nature, our ability to do what we want on our properties within reason. If that comes to that point as well, that costs enforcement, bylaw enforcement, intrusion on privacy. Again, it's reflective of being in a rural area. Again, I plan to raise my kids here. We have to make them Chosen affordable or we're going to lose it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Doesn't look like anybody else wants to speak in the microphone, so we'll move along with our council agenda. So council, we have the adoption of the minutes from March 23rd, regular council meeting. Before we go that, I forgot to mention that we have the new business supplemental agenda to be added to the agenda. I'll just take a revote. So adoption of the agenda plus this, all in favor? Thank you. And so we've got the adoption of the March 23rd, 2026 regular council meeting.
Move to adopt.
Moved by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Councillor Gray. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then we've got the receipt of the minutes. We'll take the PAC, the March 12th Peninsula and Area Agricultural Commission meeting minutes. Could I have a mover? Moved by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Councillor Shukin. Any comments? Call it. Yep, go ahead.
Well, just I note that Councillor Donaldson's attending, but we don't have a representative yet for the Peninsula and Area Agricultural Commission from the community. I wonder if we might ask the Agriculture Advisory Select Committee about that, if they have some suggestions in terms of recruitment.
Did you want to comment on that, Councillor Donaldson?
Yes, thank you. We've had extensive conversations about that, and I am now taking it out into the community as we have a meeting this week with PAC. I am taking somebody with me just to introduce them to the idea. Because it is an open meeting, it's open to the public. This young and up and coming farmer is going to come and see if it's something that she could represent us with at the table. So fingers crossed that it's inviting enough for her. It's a dynamic group where our meetings are exactly 90 minutes long and we cover all sorts of very important stuff. So with any hope, I'll be able to go back to our agriculture committee and say, yes, we have a local citizen that's willing to step forward. So we'll see what happens. So that's the latest. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll call the question. Receipt. All in favor? Opposed? There's no one opposed. And the April 9th Special Finance Committee budget meeting minutes. Go ahead, Councillor Donaldson.
Move to receipt the special finance committee meeting minutes for April 9th.
Moved by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Councillor Shukin. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then we've got the April 13th Committee of the Whole. Councillor Shukin.
Sorry, move to receive the Committee of the Whole meeting for meeting minutes of April 13th.
That's moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Great. Next, we have the mayor's report. as I've mentioned before, once a month I have a written report, the other meeting a verbal report. This is the written report. I attended the Our Place Society to serve Easter lunch. I encourage all of council, when you're given these invitations to provide lunch or to serve lunch, it really is grounding. And this last week, we were able to serve 1,400 meals. It was extremely busy and very much appreciated. Just a note on the code of conduct. So the province has been responding to municipalities and their challenges about code of conduct violations, and they have proposed legislation regarding sort of a uniform code of conduct and process regarding code of conduct violations. That information is here for your information. I think it's a good idea to have a uniform code of conduct throughout the province, and it would assure council members that there will be a uniform process followed when there are complaints that come forward. So they're hoping to have this legislation in place and usable just after the October 17th municipal elections. Council, we had talked previously about Bill M216, the private members bill. The Honorable Christine Boyle, the Minister of Housing and Municipal Affairs, announced that the province will not continue consideration of Bill 216. That's a Professional Reliance Act. And I think that is a win for municipalities. All of the municipalities, including us, that weighed in, as well as 100% of the First Nations that weighed in on this were opposed to this private members bill. In the letter that we received, they did hint that this might be enveloped into future legislation, so I don't know. But for now, that private members bill will not be pursued. Good news in Langford. I was invited, as well as Councillor Donaldson, to attend an event on April 9th. This was groundbreaking for and a celebration to mark the beginning of construction of the Community Arts and Childcare Centre in Langford. It's tucked in by the Sarah Beckett playground area. This is going to be a childcare center as well as the arts center. What was really intriguing about the presentation that was that Thomas Moore and his colleagues from Studio 531, who are the architects, said this was the first in North America mass timber structure. So we'll see how that goes, and congratulations certainly goes out to the West Shore Parks and Recreation and the city of Langford for that. As well, I attended an event at Royal Roads University at the new John Horgan campus. They hosted an event on April 15th regarding the launching of this new sort of center for creativity, Center for Innovation, and I would like to recommend and encourage students that live in Metchosin to consider the John Horgan campus for their post-secondary education. There's UVic, Camosun, the Justice Institute of BC, so District 62, and recently BCIT, who will be offering courses there. The only degree granting organization or institution will be Royal Roads, but there's a plethora of courses that can be taken at that Langford Council. I've got a whole bunch of different notes under CRD news, and I provided the links in here regarding the Heartland landfill, the landfill design and alternative options. as well as the comments regarding the Regional Canada Goose Management Services that's ongoing, the Growth Strategy Indicators Report, as well as the Regional Transportation Plan update. And I just wanted to reiterate Councillor Donaldson's words the other day at our finance meeting that, as you know, all the municipalities across BC have to submit their 2026 budget and their 5-year financial plan by May 14th. Budget discussions at the District of Metchosin began in October. We've had approximately 9 meetings on the 5-year financial plan over the past several months. All of these meetings, of course, were open to the public, and there was an opportunity for the public to speak twice at the finance meetings. Our CFO also fielded our questions as well as questions from the public, which he addressed at the beginning of the meeting. He also had many meetings with individual community members, which I greatly appreciate. And that is coming forward. The 5-year financial plan and the budget is coming forward this evening. That concludes my mayor's update. And let's move to business arising. Some of you might notice that we've moved to electronic version of our agenda, so it's taking us a little bit longer to get to the agenda items. So bear with us as we go through. We're saving a lot of paper. Okay, we've got business arising. This is the April 9th, 2026 Special Finance Committee Budget Meeting. Fire Department operational need, light duty support vehicle replacement. Councillor Shukin.
Sure, Mayor Little, I move that council approve the acquisition of 1 new 3/4 ton fleet vehicle in 2026 to restore operational capacity and support fire department service delivery, and that council directs staff to incorporate this vehicle into a district fleet replacement program.
Okay, this is moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. Would you like to motivate on that?
Sure. We had, I think, lengthy discussion on this on April 9th. I think Chief Dan made a good case for going with new, and also the fact that we have vehicles that have been taken out of service and there is a need for this vehicle. I believe that going with new is the wisest use of our funds. So,
Okay, Councillor Donaldson.
I just wanted to say that I appreciate that Chief Verdon answered quite a few of our questions. He came and gave a presentation. He was only 2 weeks on the job. We asked a lot of questions of him. He left, he came back and gave us a much more thorough report, was able to answer the majority of our questions, so I appreciate that. To me, that shows a great deal of respect and tenacity, and I think at that point he was only here 7 weeks, so things are looking good. So he's gradually looking at our inventory, doing a bit of an inventory review, I guess, of our apparatus and function of the department. So I look forward to hearing more from him, and this is one step in that direction.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Gray.
Yeah, this is a significant expenditure of $90,000 is the proposal. And it was an unexpected cost to council, at least from a perspective of a council member. And I guess I'm still concerned, I voted against this at the finance meeting because we were getting contradictory advice. Do we need a 1/2 ton or 3/4 ton? Do we need a new or used vehicle? We've received advice in both directions, it seems, without much distinction as to explain why we would choose one or the other. And the difference in the cost is something like $35,000 or $40,000. And I guess, it was at the meeting we learned Councillor Johnson has had a fire department fleet replacement plan, in which that was shared to us after the meeting. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm not completely clear where this particular vehicle fits. I raised the issue of our reserves, and we have a fire equipment replacement reserve, but I see it being used up with commitments already made for an engine 6 and then potentially this vehicle. But we also in the budget had some money put forward for tech rescue equipment. All of that would mean that particular reserve is overexpended. And then when I look back at notes from our CFO last September, I read the statement, as it stands now, the district will need more funds and equipment replacement for public works and the fire department to fulfill equipment replacement needs in the next 5 years without drawing on the general capital reserve. So with all of that, I'm going to need to vote against the motion tonight with the hope that we can sort out where our financial commitments are being made and what money we have for these different purposes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'll be voting in favor of this motion to spend up to 90,000 for the 3/4 ton fleet vehicle. We were told very plainly by our fire chief that this was a need. It was also explained that there are regulatory issues regarding what kind of a vehicle and how it needs to be equipped for the fire chief or members of staff to use it in emergency situations. And the rationale seemed fine to me, and I'll be voting in favor of it. Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Councillor Gray opposed. And then we're going to move to page 39. This is the April 13th Committee of the Whole recommendations, the Agriculture Advisory Select Committee amendment to terms of reference. Councillor Donaldson.
Yes, so I'd like to move that the council approve the following amendment to the Agriculture Advisory Select Committee terms of reference to strike the word developing and replace with implementing under the purpose of the committee, as long as the words before say assist the chosen council in.
Okay, moved by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Councillor Shukin. Do you want to comment on that?
Yes, this part is in relation to, previously it would be say developing a plan, and in 2024 this council approved the Metchosin Agricultural Area Plan, the first plan that we've ever had for agriculture, and so that is just updating some words in the terms of reference. At some point in the future there may be some other adjustments, but that was the most important part of updating their TOR currently.
Okay. Housekeeping, Councillor Shukin? No? Okay, anybody else?
Yeah, I guess
Councillor Gray.
I did comment about this before, but it's more than housekeeping. It's the idea that up until now, the committee is charged with developing a plan. Now we have a plan, and this council will need help from wise people in specifically the Agriculture Advisory Committee, how to implement the plan and what we're meant to do as distinct from what the farmers are doing. As you recall, most of the report is what farmers need to do to move the plan along. But we do have a role in having the advisory committee properly set up to give us that advice is perfect in my idea.
Yeah, and if you remember our agricultural plan, at the end there was appendices attached which outlined specifically what needed to happen and whose responsibility it was. That's a wonderful document, and I think this helps with amending, giving it more of an up-to-date terms of reference. Okay, call the question. All in favor? Opposed? No one opposed. And then we have the April 13th Committee of the Whole recommendations 2026. Councillor Shukin, you chaired the Committee of the Whole meeting. Could you walk us through those?
For sure. Well, I'll make the motion if I could. That council directs staff to work with the Finance Committee chair to reassess the criteria for the grant and aid policy F10004 for council evaluation based on the outcome of the program in 2025 and 2026. And that council allocate grant and aid
Excuse
funding
me, Councillor. Sorry to interrupt. Can we have it two separate motions, please?
Sure. Can I do okay, thank you. I'm going to do the first one first, if that's okay.
Yep.
Or sorry, the second one first. Second one first, okay. So, sorry, move that council allocate grant and aid funding based on option 1, proportional allocation amongst all groups as follows. And then on the third page of the agenda, you see the request and the allocation made. So, and we so moved.
Okay, this is moved by Councillor Shukin. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Donaldson. Did you want to go?
And I'll just mention that we had lengthy discussion on this. Yeah, and If I could, though, I wonder if there's some, the whole topic of permissive tax exemptions for the 7 community groups who'd applied has come up again. That has been addressed previously. Those groups have been made whole in terms of the funding that was going to come to them through the normal PTE process by other means, but they have been kept whole as to otherwise what they would have been. So I saw some comments on Facebook today and we received some correspondence, but that has been addressed. And I will ask Mr. Creek to further confirm that. Yes, okay, great. So the grant and aid process is separate from that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, Councillor Donaldson, did you want to comment?
Well, I just want to say that when we call it a grant and aid, as we've known it for numbers of years, this $5,000 go out to groups and stuff, it did get a little confusing when we started talking about the PTE being grant and aid. So that's, when I spoke with the CFO that we need to put grant and aid PTE as a separate line item. And yeah, it really did muddy the waters, and that's what gets people upset and mixed up and confused. So hopefully we can move forward a lot swifter and clearer in the next coming months when we revisit the topic of permissive tax.
Okay. Councillor Gray.
Yeah, we're doing these in reverse order, but my concern has been that we aren't really following the criteria that we've established in a policy in terms of
Actually, let me interrupt you. We're doing that motion next. Let's deal with the motion that's on the table.
Yes, and so my interest is to get a relook at that, and I'm happy to vote in favor of this on the basis that we have agreed to do the other. I'm particularly, when I look at the distribution of money here, I think about, I would have preferred, for example, we've granted the Metchosin Equestrian Society the dollars they sought, but the other groups that are situated in Metchosin, I would have preferred to support them with a little bit more money, the Metchosin Grown Society and the Metchosin Preschool in particular. But I will vote in favor of the motion on the basis that we are going to take a look at the criteria. Thank you.
Okay, I'll call the question then. All in favor? And those opposed? No one opposed. Okay, the second motion, Councillor Shukin.
Sure. That council directs staff to work with the finance committee chair to reassess the criteria for the grant and aid policy F104 for council evaluation based on the outcome of the program in 2025 and 26. So moved.
Okay, this is moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. Okay, Councillor Donaldson.
Yeah, I worked on this 2 years ago and have been very disappointed, I have to say, the last 2 years. I thought our CFO did a very good job on how it all works out. So clearly there are a few bumps in the road just by hearing the feedback from how you, my colleagues, have chosen to look at this differently. So I look forward to working with the CFO so that we can navigate this so that it benefits the groups in a different manner, so that it's not just everybody gets a piece of the pie, but it's deserving based on reevaluating the criteria.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, thank you. Now that we have the April 13th Committee of the Whole recommendations, the wayfinding sign village comments. Councillor Donaldson, did you want to start with this?
Yes, I brought this up at the Committee of the Whole in my councillor's update. And this is a wayfinding sign project that I've been working on for a while, but it is coming to a point now where I was asked that, do I have a name for it? Because we talked a couple years ago about renaming the school. Well, renaming the school and a wayfinding sign are really kind of two different things. So I put together a motion that the council consider the use of the name Village Commons as a primary directional identifier for the district-owned Metchosin School site. And this is in reference to the wayfinding signage. And that council directs staff to incorporate the name into wayfinding signage and related communication materials as appropriate. In the package, you see that there's a drawing which was asked for by my colleagues.
So we have a motion on the table. We have actually, first, remind me, was there somebody that seconded it?
Mayor Little?
No.
Sorry, but we're looking for a motion to either approve or deny
Okay,
at this point.
okay. Did you want to make a motion?
Motion to, I thought that it did say that, to approve,
Okay,
to approve the
to-
wayfinding sign.
approve the wayfinding sign or to deny it? Right.
No, that's what I'm reading.
So the motion was that council consider the use of the name Village Commons as the primary directional identifier for the district-owned Metchosin school site. Okay, that was moved by Council Donaldson. That was seconded by,
I'll second for discussion.
okay, seconded by Council Shukin. Council Donaldson.
Yeah, so the concern, I guess, was not so much about the wayfinding sign, but maybe putting the name Village Commons on it. Interesting experience that I had with this. Originally, we hadn't put a name on it because the jury was out on that. However, in applying for several grants over the last few years, most recent experience was in order to get into a grant, you had to actually have a name for something. This was an accessibility grant. So I put Metchosin School, and then it started profiling me as a school and asking about children and such, which is what it is not. So I put in a different name, Village Community Center, and that started opening up some things. And we know we need some accessibility improvements on the school. In the end, we chose not to go with the grant for capacity things and some other stuff. So it got me thinking about, okay, what would the name be on this? And this is specific to the activity that's actually evolved in the school with the commercial side of it. And so in the last 2 years, we've seen an evolution of more small businesses in there. There's a lot more activities going on, both socially, recreationally, health and wellness. We're covering a lot of different areas. So with that, I went the next step to see, okay, different names. What does Commons mean? What does Community Center? And all these different things. Commons is the one that fits best. I have reached out to the businesses in the building. I've only one that I haven't been able to make contact with. Everybody seems to be on board with it. We are the landlord. Having a placeholder out at the driveway as a sign it's a professional business aspect to have your address and your name out there. We hear from the staff that deliveries are going to the wrong places, and so I'm having a sign like this makes it deliveries more accessible to get to the right place. People who are coming to visit or going in for appointments, they know where in the building to go once they've arrived to this part of the property. I'd be happy to answer any other questions from colleagues on this.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, let me go to the seconder of the motion. Go ahead, Councillor
Okay,
Shukin, we'll go to Councillor Gray.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm curious to know what everyone else thinks as well. I cannot. I like the design of the concept. The sign concept. I'm open to the name, but I still cannot escape the fact that this might be rushing things, and I feel like that it's a decision made at the council table as opposed to discussion with the stakeholders at the school. And I recognize Councillor Donaldson has had some of those discussions, but I think we need to be more privy to, I don't know, like the input received. So, and again, we're thinking about preschool, Mile Zero, MACA, CERC, maybe the pickleball guys, maybe not though, and again, some of the folks that do the training there. So I'm open to this, but I almost feel like not imposing isn't the right thing, but it's a decision made without full consultation with some of the stakeholders. That's my sense at this point. So.
Okay, Councillor Gray.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a good point you're making, Councillor Shukin. And I think the other obvious stakeholder group is the public. What do they think? I'm not sure where this came from in terms of budget. When I went through the capital budget, I saw school capital cost 20,000 for the septic tank replacement and 10,000 for miscellaneous capital for a sorted capital project. Is that where the money's coming from? Do we know, through the chair, either to Councillor Donaldson or to our CFO?
Councillor Donaldson, do you want to address that, or would you like me to ask the CFO?
I can address that, and then yes, you can ask the CFO after that. So originally we were asked, actually again, when we had a surplus of $800,000 in 24, the CAO, Mr. Payette, had asked us, what did we want to do with this? This is money that's already been taxed. And so we all gave some input, at least I did. I gave a lengthy list of things considering what would benefit the residents, and because it's the residents' money and it needs to go back to them. And so again, there's our public. It's an investment for our public. It's an investment for the school being revenue generating, and we hear a lot about that from our residents as well. So that is where that came out of. There's also business reserves. I don't know if that is where the CFO is taking it out of, or if it was the surplus. So he could probably answer the finer details of that funding of that project.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to turn to our CFO, Mr. Creek. Where is the money for this coming from? Which budget?
Through the chair, thank you. The funding for this is half coming out of our operating account for the school, and then half is coming from the capital.
Okay, Councillor Gray.
Sorry, I don't think I heard that. From the operating budget?
If you could repeat that, Mr. Creek, it's from the...
Through the chair. So yeah, 50% from the operating, 50% from capital.
Do you have an additional question, Councillor Gray?
I guess the other point was simply, this is something that we're proposing, not so much the tenants. The tenants aren't asking for this. It's more an idea that we've come up with.
Councillor Donaldson.
That is correct. It's no different than us putting in a sidewalk or an accessibility ramp, improving the lighting, that sort of thing. It's making it so that it's accessible to the visitors of this, to the region, or people that are doing business within the building. What we're starting to see is more and more sandwich boards, and that as we get more businesses. So this is just one placeholder out on the driveway, so everybody knows what's in the building. There's also a proposal to be able to put a QR code mechanism on the sign. These signs can be slid in and out if those businesses do change. There'll be also a space on the sign, you can see in the drawing. Actually, I'm not sure if it's, yeah, there's a space there, maybe it's not too clear, but to also show activities that would be happening during the month. So there, there'll be changing activities in the building, say would be the training or the flu clinic, or activities in the gym, that sort of thing. So there's a space for that to be implemented as well.
And then perhaps I could ask the expected cost.
The CFO would have the information on that.
CFO Creek.
Through the chair, thank you. Right now the estimate is 11,200.
Say that again.
11,200.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I misunderstood when we talked previously, because you had talked about a wayfinder sign for businesses. So this will also include a wayfinder sign for MACA, for CERC, the Seniors Information Resource Center, as well as Mile Zero, the preschool. Is that correct?
No, this is a sign for the commercial side of the building. MACA already has a wayfinding sign on the building. They also have a sign that says MACA. It's quite large on the building. It's much bigger than the chosen school sign that's on the building.
Okay.
So this is at the driveway entrance to the people that are actually revenue generating. It's for the people inside the building.
Okay. I would think that many of the people that are coming to Metchosin or coming to the core are interested in activities at the Metchosin Art and Cultural Center and at the Seniors Research Center, the Seniors Information Resource Center. I would think that that would be something that would be on the sign, because if your focus is on the sign for as a directional, it just seems like it's missing, that this is only for the businesses. I think it should be for everything at the school.
Yeah, so as I say, we have the signs out there. When we hear the staff saying, we don't know what's at the school, we take deliveries there. If you did a Google search for Metchosin School, it's not consistent to the information that comes up. If you do a search for Maca, the address and Maca comes up. As far as the interior of the commercial side of it, that's where there seems to be a missing link. And again, just going on the reports from staff to try and accommodate what's going on with the site. We can probably incorporate that in a bottom space, again with the QR code. So if you want this to go back to the drawing board, I guess that's what it's going to have to do. There's been significant drawings, engineering done on this. So yeah, I'd like to hear some other suggestions on that.
Okay, thank you. I'm just going to turn to our CEO, Mr. Payette. Did you want to comment on this, Mr. Payette?
Yeah, thanks. I hate to be a stick in the mud, but we're steering a little bit away from the motion that's been presented. But personally, I support the signage. If anything to stop people from coming to this building and asking where the gym is would be fantastic. Thanks.
Right, and that this sign wouldn't necessarily address that concern, right? Because the gym, the gymnasium will be on there.
Well, so there is a space on the sign that tells you the different activities that are going on monthly. So that's what that could be. We don't, because it's not a specific tenant, other than the fact we do have pickleball, which is going on consistently throughout the year. They probably could have a slide in on the sign, but for other activities, absolutely.
I see, and
That's what the QR code part of it is too.
And is the thought that staff is going to go out there and change the signage?
The signage with the QR code, it's electronic. So I still have to go back to the designer and understand how the bottom piece works, but the rest of it's all fixed once you got your tenants.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's locked in.
Okay. So let's get back to the motion that we're considering the name Village Commons. It's not a term that comes to mind when I think about going into a village core or a village center. I do note that doing some research on this, it does refer to resources that are collectively owned and managed by the community rather than individuals. And it's just not a term that I've used. My worry is that we're going to have village commons there, and we're introducing yet another word to describe the school site without having that conversation regarding what are we going to call the school site. It is confusing for the staff that when directions are given to the old school, the question is it the really old school, or is this Hans Helgeson school, or is it the old elementary school? And I'm a little bit worried that the village common, that will be a term now that is used for that center. And we haven't had that conversation about what we are going to rename the school.
Which is exactly why I brought this forward. So it is an option. We know that if you don't know you're in Metchosin, all you have to do is look at the Welcome to Metchosin sign, Metchosin School, Metchosin Country Store, Metchosin Cafe. So that was one thing I took right out of the whole idea of searching. We don't need something that says Metchosin. We also probably don't need something that says community, because we got a community hall and a community house. We also have a Metchosin Center. And so then, there's like 12 different places that have the word Metchosin in it. There's lots of definitions as to, you know, there's hub, there's plaza, there's square, there's all these sorts of things. And Village Commons was the one that was the strongest fit. It reflects shared multi-use community space. It's not a single purpose facility. It aligns with our OCP because as a village, it's a focal point. It conveys openness, inclusivity, community stewardship, has mixed uses of recreation, social, economic activity, which is something we've also been talking about supporting more of. There's public events there. Community center is more about a single building and structured programming. Hub is more about, it's modern, service-oriented, somewhat corporate tone. Halls are strong, rural, and familiar and heritage feel, but they also are just a one primary gathering space. This is why the Village Commons it's more than that. It has a lot of different services. Recently, I had gone to a CD Saturday at Royal Bay School, and you go in, it's the Commons. There's art commons, there's music commons, there's different kinds of things like that. These are gathering places with services and public and community.
Okay. Councillor Shukin.
I'm okay with the name, actually. And it seems like Councillor Donaldson has done some work to, you know, figure out what is the best, not what is the best, but what is a viable name. Again, go back to the point I made earlier about, I think we need to reach out to the other stakeholders in that area in the community, provide more information about what is, you know, proposed in concept. And, you know, for example, a great venue that Councillor Donaldson and I have are the ground group users. But also, again, some of the people in the building that might be, you know, impacted by this, however minor. The one thing I would just say, though, is if there was a package of information circulated to the right people, we, again, most importantly is to share the name and also share the decision that would go along with renaming the place the Village Commons. Because one of the things I'd like to not be in a position where someone asks me, why did you decide to name it the Village Commons? Did you talk to anybody about it? And the answer that I would have to give is not really. So again, a bit of a package of information, location where the sign would go, the rationale, circulate it to some of the key users. That would be a step I would strongly suggest we take on this. So.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing from you is prior to any decision on a name, that you would hold a meeting, you would both hold a meeting similar to the users, the ground group users convene a meeting saying this is what is planned for the boulevard. What do you think to this?
Yeah, exactly. The one thing I would say about consultation, though, is you're not necessarily looking to win 100% of the people on the concept. Mm-hmm. But it, again, is sharing the name and the rationale, which, again, it sounds like Councillor Donaldson has actually done a fair bit of work on. So.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Councillor Gray.
Yeah, I'm hearing the misgivings in terms of the name and the process. I think it would be fine to approve the motion as it's written. Then we would be considering the name. The question then would be, what's the process we want to go through to talk to other people? And we went through this before about the school, and we came back after we tallied all the results. Councillor Epp ran that process, and we tallied all the results, and the end result was we call it the Old Metchosin School. So I'm a bit concerned that we did a process, we talked to the public, we got the results, and now we're doing something different. So I think that's a bit difficult for me. So I would think we're okay to approve this tonight, we're considering it, but maybe we should, if we want to, go through another process to find the correct name, and this is a good name to have at the top of the list and see whether people like it or not. I will say that I think it's the same name that they're using in Royal Bay for their common area. So we may want to distinguish ourselves, I'm not sure.
Yeah, thank you. The only concern I have is that if we go to the stakeholders and say this is what we're considering, And somebody says, well, you already passed the motion that you're going to consider it. Why are you coming up to us now? What Councillor Shukin is saying, maybe we should have that conversation before we vote on it.
I can accept either direction. It just seems to me considering means we're thinking about it. My big issue is the cost, $11,200.
11,000.
$11,200.
Okay. So Councillor Donaldson.
Yeah, the, for it to go to the grounds groups, it doesn't really pertain to them. I'm sure the equestrians aren't
Yeah, no, sorry.
interested in that.
It's a meeting similar to what the stakeholders on this side of the property would be the stakeholders on that part of the Metchosin property. Sorry
Yeah.
to confuse you.
Yeah, I have sent some letters out. I can send more out to everybody to make it more formalized instead of just conversations.
I think a meeting would be great. Yeah. Okay. So what do you want to do? So the motion reads that council consider the use of the name, consider it, you're right, that means that we will be discussing it in the future. If that's Councillor Shukin.
I wonder if Councillor Donaldson would consider withdrawing the motion. I would hate to defeat it, but I can't go with it right now for the reasons I've said. I'd be happy to assist Councillor Donaldson in the outreach and meeting, and I think there's an interesting opportunity here, and I believe at some point we should rename that facility and everyone be on side as much as we can. But I would hate to vote this down.
Yeah.
tonight, so.
Yeah, I agree. Would you consider withdrawing it, and then we will relook at it again after you've had some consultation with the stakeholders there, all of them.
Yeah, I could certainly reach out to the stakeholders and bring back the information to my council colleagues here. I just want to be clear that I'm not suggesting we rename the school. I'm just suggesting that the sign is a directional placeholder so that people know where they're going when they arrive to Metchosin. It's pretty simple. Retain the existing Metchosin school sign on the building. That is a landmark. It preserves the legacy there. Most people don't see it, so there's no confusion that they've arrived at the wrong place. But we're open for business. 2 years ago when this came up, that was one of the things I said is, until it evolves, let's not worry about it. I mean, the wayfinding sign can go up there with no top of the name, but now doing more research, because I was asked to do this by staff, I did it, and here we are. So I can go back to the stakeholders formally. Like I say, I've got some letters out and some were conversations, and I can bring that back. I can put a package together of all the different definitions and have it ready for you for the next meeting.
Okay, that's great. So you can withdraw the motion. That's okay with the first and the seconder, Councillor Gray.
I just wanted to mention again, stakeholder, often we leave the public out. I'd like us to think about some process to involve the public.
Okay, that has been dealt with. Heads nod. Okay, let's move along to the committee of the whole request for a development variance permit 3767 Happy Valley Road. Councillor Shukin.
Sure, I would move that council directs staff to notify landowners within 60 meters of the subject property, 3767 Happy Valley Road, of the development variance permit application 2601, including its purpose and date of the council meeting at which the application will be considered, which is scheduled for May 4th. And so I think we probably have to do those separately.
Yeah, we'll do it
Yeah.
separately. So this is
So
moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Gray. Comments? No. This was discussed quite adequately at the committee of the whole. Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Go ahead.
And that council directs staff to arrange a visit to 3767 Happy Valley Road related to the DVP.
Okay, this is moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Gray. All in favor? Opposed, carried. Great. Moving along to the April 13th Committee of the Whole recommendations. Councillor Shukin, this was the Friends of the Bufferland request for council direction on academic research opportunities supporting the Bufferland.
Sure, that the mayor write a letter to the Royal Roads University Bachelor of Business Administration indicating that the district is open to facilitating research that better helps the district understand the environmental values and attributes of the Bufferland. So moved.
This is moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Gray. Do you want to motivate on that?
I think we talked about this pretty thoroughly. Friends of the Bufferland are a great new group in the community, and they're going to be helping us with stewardship activities around the buffer. They've been in touch with Royal Roads, and they've shared with us the opportunities that are there. So, and interestingly, PTASC has also been made aware of some research opportunities as well. So, and if this passes, I can help you scribble up some of the
Okay, great.
correspondence here.
Councillor Gray.
Yeah, and just to say, I've heard this week from Jenny Eastman, who works with the CRD on invasive species, and she's also made a suggestion, not for tonight, but that we put the Bufferland Group and PTASC in touch with some researchers at UVic who may wish to be involved in looking at the issue of flora and fauna there.
Okay, then seeing no other comments, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? No one opposed. Okay, moving right along to item number 8, reports for action. We have the 2026 UBCM CEBTF Fire Smart Community Funding. We have a recommendation here. Councillor Gray,
I'm happy to move the motion.
go ahead.
The council support the District of Metchosen's application to the UBCM Community Emergency Preparedness Fund Fire Smart program for 2026 in the amount of $200,000 allocation-based funding to continue the Community Fire Smart program. And the council authorize the CEO to execute any agreements related to a successful grant application.
This is moved by Councillor Gray, seconded by Councillor Donaldson.
The Fire Smart has been a terrific program, and I really appreciate the work done by the fire department on that and the individuals involved. And I think it would be wonderful if we were able to access this funding and continue the program.
Okay, anybody else? No? Okay, call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Moving right along to item number 9, page 45. This is the KPMG District Metchosen Draft Consolidated Financial Statements, year ended December 31st, 2025. We have the auditor's report, the draft on here for your information, and we've got the consolidated 2025 financial statements. We have a recommendation here. Councillor Donaldson, did you want to move that?
Yes, thank you. The District of Metchosen consolidated financial statements year ended December 31st, 2025 be received for information.
This is moved by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Councillor Gray. Comments? No?
Just with thanks to Lenore Lee, who worked on this from KPMG and her crew, and also thanks to our CFO and CEO for the work that's gone into all of this and the finance staff here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my regards also to Ms. Lee and her staff who completed the audit, and our staff who cooperated greatly. Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Those opposed? No one opposed. And we've got the report, the 2025 annual report from the Metchosen Seniors Association, financial statements to be received for information. Go ahead, Councillor Shukin.
Mayor Little, I would move that the Metchosen Seniors Association 2025 annual report and financial statements be received for information.
This is moved by Councillor Shukin, second by Councillor Gray. Comments?
Again, thank you to the MSA, and I know that some of their board members are here, and big thanks to President Deirdre Chettelberg. And as mentioned, I'm taking over from Councillor Epp in terms of attending the board meetings and being their liaison. I've been able to be at 2 meetings so far, and again, just very impressed at the dedication and commitment that these volunteers put into this put into this great sort of a very important demographic in Metchosin.
Anybody else? Councillor Gray?
Yeah, I just so appreciate the work they're doing in terms of building and strengthening the fabric in our community.
Yeah, agree. Okay, call the question. All in favor? Opposed? No one opposed. And then we've got receiving for information the District Metchosin Building Inspection Department report. This is for March. We receive these monthly. Could I have someone move that motion, please? Anybody? Councillor Gray, moved by Councillor Gray, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. Any comments regarding the building inspection report? Everybody there, page 95.
Well, maybe I'll just comment not about this report, but it will be interesting to watch this report. It's our marker in terms of what's going on in terms of building. And into the next year, as we see the changes we made to our housing bylaws, it'll be interesting to watch and see what things happen in the community.
Okay, no other comments. I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? No one opposed. Then we've got the District Metchosin Public Communication Report statistics for March. So any comments, complaints that come in are logged at the District Metchosin front office. This is our public communication reports. The statistics are available monthly. Councillor Shukin.
Move receipt.
Moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. Comments? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And then we've got correspondence for information, item number 10 on page 99. This is the Canadian Federation of Independent Businesses joint letter urging council to oppose the provincial sales tax PST expansion on professional services. Council, you read the correspondence. Would you like to move receipt?
I'll move receipt.
Moved by Councillor Gray, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. Comments? No? Okay.
The request is for action in terms of criticizing this plan. It's not entirely clear to me. I mean, we're just one sector being affected by this, and I don't feel competent to comment to say that this whole system should change as a result of our concerns here, given that it's across the piece. There's so many things involved. So the analysis provided is a little bit lacking for me to draw different conclusions than just to receive the report tonight.
Anybody else? Okay, I'll take a vote. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. And then we have correspondence from the chair of the CRD, Chair Cliff McNeil Smith, regarding potential sites for supportive housing and sheltering. So I just wanted to give some context around this. At the December 10th meeting at the CRD board, we received a report on the regional engagement on supportive housing and sheltering. That was the report is attached here in the agenda. At that meeting, the minister, Christine Boyle, the Minister for Housing and Municipal Affairs, presented the regional approach to housing and sheltering, and the board subsequently redirected or directed that staff send the report back in March 2026. During the presentation, Minister Boyle emphasized the importance of locating the supportive housing and sheltering facilities outside of the City of Victoria. So the City of Victoria has a lot of the services, but they've also provided the housing and sheltering facilities, and they were urging other municipalities as well. I spoke at that meeting and I said, in Metchosin, we don't have a significant homeless population, but we have a significant precariously housed population that I was concerned about, particularly seniors that may be living in substandard housing. I think what my take from the meeting and my take from the letter was that Honourable Christine Boyle was trying to nudge the larger communities like Saanich to provide services as well. As many of you know, we don't have a lot of services here for people that are not housed or sheltered. And it makes sense to me that that facilities would be surrounding services that these people also need. And so I don't think it was particularly addressed to Metchosin, but certainly it was sent to all of the members of the CRD. We also we don't have significant blocks of land that we could use for housing, and of course, without sewers, we're limited in what we could build, even if we wanted to build a supportive housing and sheltering space. So, did I give you some context why this all of a sudden came in your mailbox? Okay. Any comments? Councillor Shukin.
Thank you very much for the clarification, Mayor Little. I would just move receipt if I could.
Mm-hmm. This moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. Councillor Gray.
Yeah, I'll vote in favor of the motion. The request is for us is to consider any publicly owned or otherwise viable lands or facilities that could be considered as suitable for supportive housing or sheltering. And we really don't have any, neither do we have surplus municipal land to offer up. And it seems to me that supportive housing also needs to be in a center where you have easy transportation, amenities, access to services, which we don't have here. So, fair enough. And with the understanding that we're not expected to provide a response to the chair of the CRD, I'm happy with the motion.
Okay, anybody else want to weigh in? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And then back to, sorry, let me get to my place here. Okay, we're moving along to number 11, page 147, bylaws. This is the financial plan 2026 to 2030, bylaw number 718, and tax rate 2026, bylaw number 719. We have a report here from our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Creek. Mr. Creek, you've got some recommendations here. Did you want to introduce the report?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you mentioned earlier in this meeting, we've been going over the financial plan for about 6 months now, and this is the culmination of all that. So staff are requesting that Council give first, second, third reading to the financial plan, which lays out the spending, operating, and capital for 2026 through 2030. Most of it is just applicable for 2026. And then after that, the tax rate, which will allow us to collect enough money from residents' businesses in the district of Metchosin to pay for all those services. I think that is about it. Unless any questions about what we have presented so far.
Okay. Council, thank you for that. Thank you for your report and for your work over the last, I guess this will be the 10th time we've at least discussed the financial plan and the budget. Okay. Does anybody want to move the recommendations? Let's get it on the floor.
Do we want to move them separately or altogether?
We'll do them separately.
Okay. So I will move that Council give first reading to the financial plan of 2026 to 2030, bylaw number 718.
Just one moment, Tina, can we do first, second, and third, or how would you like this done?
You can give first, second, and third all together. However, just do the bylaws separate.
Say that again.
You can do first, second, and third of each individual bylaw.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'll reread that then.
Sure.
That I move that Council give first, second, and third reading to Financial Plan 2026 to 2030, bylaw number 718.
Second.
Moved by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Councillor Schuken. Any comments? Nope. Nope. Councillor Gray.
Yeah. So tonight we're passing this bylaw to implement the 5-year plan, financial plan that council approved at our last meeting. And I'll vote in favor of the bylaw tonight because the bylaw is required to implement the decision that council's already reached. But I did want to emphasize that I voted against the 5-year financial plan at our last meeting for several reasons. One was council's denial of the permissive tax exemptions to local nonprofits. In my view, unnecessarily confused our financial picture, effectively reducing our municipal tax room. We didn't complete a study on whether adjusting our roads budget would improve our overall financial picture going forward. We've not been advised on financial controls for special projects, a continuing risk as I see it that needs an answer. And then finally, and most importantly, not enough funds are being set aside to build up our reserves for asset replacement. I don't think that's responsible governance nor financial management. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. CFO Creek, I'm just wondering if you can comment on the permissive tax exemptions and the implications for this year's tax rate and how that the process was with giving the people that previously had received a permissive tax exemption and an additional group, how they received money this year.
Through the chair, thank you. The bottom line is that there's no impact on the total financial bill for any resident or business in Metchosin. What you would have paid at the end of the day, whether the group's got a permissive tax exemption or the grant and aid, is a nil impact. What it really did was just it reduced the tax bill for the other taxing authorities that show up at the bottom of your invoice to the top with the District of Metchosin, which was roughly about 3%. But again, at the end of the day, tax bill, it was $4,000. It's going to be $4,000.
Okay. And Councillor Grave, the special projects that you were interested in terms of the financial controls, which special projects were you referring to?
We talked about these a number of times during the meetings, the finance meetings, and in particular, I mean, the straightforward one is the Weirs Beach stairs, and the issue was that we went over budget on that by, I think it was a project, I don't have the numbers in front of me, I think we started at 15,000 and ended up close to 40,000. So I wanted to hear how we would manage those kinds of projects in future so that council was aware of the overruns as they were occurring and might have changed plans along the way to do a better job. So that would be my example of that. We talked about others as well.
Okay. And regarding the revenues for the reserves, or sorry, regarding the reserves, CFO Creek, this year, are we adding to the reserves?
Through the chair. Yes, so for the 2026 financial plan, we're still throwing the amortization in there, which is both just over 1.3 million. And then there were additional reserve allocations based on the increase in our PILT funding that's estimated. So there's another 150,000 going into revenue shortfall. And then a few other ones like the buffer land reserve, those. So it's like we're still adding, I think it was just $2.3 million into reserves in total for the year.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
And
And
our funding gap is $3 million, I think, annual gap in funding of the reserves.
CFO Creek, regarding the funding gap over 5 years.
Through the chair. Correct. So there, for asset replacement, we have a $3 million annual funding gap, and accounting for what is being allocated, it's still there. Because the total amount of funding that needs to be contributed is just over $4.4 million a year. So with our amortization covering 1.3, we're still missing that $3 million mark.
Okay. So council did have the ability to increase reserves. We did add to the reserves, but what I was talking about at the last meeting, I think we were trying to balance having a substantial tax increase to accommodate that. And I think we struck a good balance. That's my opinion. Anybody else want to discuss this? Councillor Shukin.
No, it is a deep question that we will have to get into in the coming years. Mr. Saunders spoke earlier, and I think his points are very good ones. And Mayor Little, back to what you were thinking about and contemplating in terms of a body or a group to look at financial sustainability. I think that's something that should be considered likely in the next term. So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really think that's important because throughout our community, we have some really incredible minds in the community, a real resource that we can call upon to outline what Mr. Creek has given us, some of the start figures, and come up with some just discussions. This is what our financial picture looks like in 5, 10, 20 years. What do you suggest we do about it? Let's have those discussions. I think it's always good to bring the community in, especially since we have a wealth of information out there. Councillor Gray.
Yeah, I mean, my concern has been a lot of criticism of previous councils made at this table that they didn't save enough money. Well, here we are. Last year, we were told we should put money aside into reserves. We didn't do it. This year, we were told to. We put in 1%. With the opportunity to put in more money, we're deciding not to do that and saying, well, we'll leave it to the future. That's exactly the problem of not putting money away in order that we have the dollars available. The longer you leave it, the more money, the higher the taxes will be for the next people coming along. And I don't think we're setting up the next council very well this way, and the councils after. I think the last, before us, I think the last budget that happened, people voted, the council voted in favor of putting some money into reserves. I'm not sure, Mayor Little, if you voted in favor or opposed to that. But, you know, it's a situation here where I think we had the opportunity and we're not taking it with a significant, sufficiently adequate response. We'll leave it there.
Yeah, thank you. And so, as Councillor Donaldson has previously mentioned, we try and tax for what we really need, and without having those large surpluses that have been seen in past years. It was that surplus that was added to reserves. The money's still there. It's just that we all were in favor of having budgets that truly reflect what we need, and we're giving that little bit of a buffer zone so that we didn't end up with these massive surpluses that we could move for special projects, but also to reserves. Okay, I'll call the question on the first, second, and third reading. All in favor? That's unanimous. Go ahead, Councillor Donaldson.
And I'll move that council give first, second, and third reading to tax rate 2026 bylaw number 719.
I can second.
This is moved by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Councillor Shukin. Councillor Donaldson. Nothing?
No,
That's okay.
no.
Councillor Shukin, did you want to comment on this? Yep. Okay. Seeing everybody's good, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? No one is opposed. That's unanimous. Okay, going back to the agenda, that's the tax bylaws. For some reason, my computer keeps bumping around. Okay. So we've done those bylaws, seeing nods. We've got next on page 155, 11B, the district chosen local election bylaw 2026, number 720. Deputy Corporate Officer, Ms. Hanson, would you like to walk us through this?
Good evening, Council. In planning for the 2026 general local election, staff have reviewed the district's existing election bylaw from 2005 and have identified updates that were needed to ensure the bylaw is aligned with the current provincial legislation and changes in technology. Although not significantly different, the newly proposed bylaw number 720 includes updates to definitions and references to the Local Government Act. updated procedures and references to technology related to the use of voting machines, and clarification around elector and non-resident property elector registration. The proposed bylaw does not change direction on any of the legislative requirements for the 2026 election. And in order for the election, or an election bylaw must be adopted by a local government at least 56 days before the first day of the nomination period in a general local election. For this election, that's before July 6th.
Okay, so this is changes specific to the District of Metchosin, not to general voting. Does anybody have any questions for the Deputy Corporate Officer? If not, I'll take the first, second, and third reading motion. Okay, do you want to read that out?
That council give first, second, and third reading to District of Metchosin Local Elections Bylaw 2026 number 720. So moved.
This is moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. Does anybody have any questions for the Deputy Corporate Officer? If not,
Not a
ahead,
question,
Councillor
but
Day.
just to recognize what we heard there. This election will be run with electronic voting, is my understanding.
Go ahead.
I think is it electronic voting or electronic counting?
County.
Counting. Okay.
It says voting machines. What's that?
When,
Councillor, just a moment. Let's get clarification from our Deputy Corporate Officer.
It's a vote counting unit which stores the votes for each race, or for each candidate in each race. So it tabulates everything, keeps until the end of the voting procedures.
and correct me if I'm wrong, but the reference to voting machines is just a hangover from the previous bylaw, I think, and was just to,
Yes, it's old technology.
Any other comments? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And that needed to be done, so I appreciate everybody voting on that as well. Okay, moving to item number 12, other business. This is on page 175 of your council agenda. This is a motion for which notice has been given. At the March 23rd regular council meeting, Councillor Shukin made the following motion. Councillor Shukin, do you want to go ahead?
I move that council direct staff to prepare a report on potential amendments to the soil deposit and removal bylaw number 402 and building bylaw 2024 number 694 that will make the provisions of bylaw number 402 fully applicable in respect to future building permits granted by the district from bylaw number 694, and that external support be accessed to support staff in expediting this request. So moved. And I can talk further about this.
This is moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. Go ahead, Councillor Shukin.
Great. Thanks very much. The goal here is pretty simple, and it's just to establish consistency between the soil deposit bylaw and the building bylaw, and situations where building projects require large volumes of delivered soil. So the goal is consistency in terms of things like quantities, as noted in the briefing, the type of material that can be brought in, so just being consistent with the soil deposit bylaw. So for example, the reference to woody debris, that we had made a change about that last year. Reporting, there's mention in the soil deposit bylaw about load receipts that are required, and also the timing of deliveries as well. And so the one thing is this is not to say that soil deposits are forbidden or larger deposits are restricted. Not at all. If there's a legitimate need, there is a process within the soil deposit bylaw to grant large deposits. So, and the request here is really just that a staff report be prepared on possible amendments to we can assess at a further date, and also that we get external support to move this along quickly and take the burden off staff.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Donaldson, do you want to comment on the motion?
Just want to say that I'll be supporting this motion, and cite that, you know, this has been I think soil deposit is an ongoing and something that affects everybody in our community as we learn to understand how it all works, including in the agricultural land reserve, and not just in our own region. We've heard about different things at various workshops we've gone to, so some clarity on this and how it ties in with the building permit process. Absolutely think that an external support for our staff would be helpful as well, given everything else that we're doing at the moment. So
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. I think this will add extra clarity for that, sort of closing up the loopholes and providing a good solid direction to staff. Councillor Gray.
Yeah, thanks very much. I'm going to support the motion. I would just like to ask that staff consider the question of the practicality. In other words, if as the law is getting written and if they're consulting legal or seeking legal views, that it would look at ease of administration rather than having a cumbersome circumstance. And the second thing is I'd like to hear back about experience in other jurisdictions. Surely this isn't the first time this has been looked at, so I'd like to know what's going on elsewhere to help us understand what may come in our report. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Councillor Donaldson, are you aware of some of the other jurisdictions that have dealt with similar bylaws?
I am familiar with a case in Richmond. It's a report that, we were familiar with, those of us who attended an agricultural soil depositing workshop a year or two ago, I guess it was. Anyways, that has come to fruition in another workshop that I was in with the ministry. It's a 3.5-hour workshop, February 24th. And substantial amount of deposits, not just soil, all sorts of different things on farmland. Is what that topic was. So now that has gone through the courts, and it'll take many years for it to be cleaned up. Bylaw was involved with it, and they were the one that actually gave the presentation. So just learning more about that and making sure that our bylaws are applicable and practical, as Councillor Gray says, that we don't have any loopholes, that we actually have something succinct that our residents can work with as well, so that we all have a good understanding of what's expected of each of us.
Okay. Okay. Seeing there's no other conversation regarding that, I'll call the question. All in favor? Those opposed? No one opposed. Okay. Thank you for that. Moving right along to the other one. This is other business 12B. This is Crown Land Commercial General Use Application in East Souk, page 177. Councillor Gray.
Yes, thank you. We talked a little bit about this at our committee of the whole, and through correspondence and reading the papers and other periodicals, we see there's a private company's applied to the province of British Columbia for a license of occupation and lease of 72 hectares of provincial crown land that's entirely bounded by land by the CRD East Souk Regional Park. And the object is to establish a survival school. So I looked at the application, and there's an intensive use area where there would be 5 cabins established, a learning center, a carving shop, a bushcraft practice area, kayak storage, a change room, a storage location, an animal processing shop, a food preservation shop, a bow shooting range, survival camp demonstration practice area, tenting camp area, and 7 washrooms. That's just in the one application. There's actually 2 additional applications. First one is for an intensive use area, and the other is for extensive use area and a dock. Now, provincial crown land is there and it's available, and people can certainly make these applications, but I'm concerned that this area is right in the middle of the CRD park. It's a special area in terms of the natural and abundant wildlife there. And I think the removal of trees and cleaning up the undergrowth and putting in this facilities is not a great idea in terms of the preserving the special area there. in association with the CRD park. So I've got a motion here. The council, well, two motions. One is
Let's take them separately.
the council requests staff to put the following link on the district website and encourage residents to submit their comments directly to the province using the link before the May 6th deadline. And then I've got the link there that shows on the electronic version.
Yeah, this is moved by Councillor Gray, seconded by Councillor Donaldson.
So personally, I registered my opposition as an individual resident, not as a councillor. And I'd like council to endorse this so that our community would get involved. I want to note that we have received 6 letters from the public expressing similar views.
Okay. Anybody else? Councillor Donaldson?
Yeah, I think putting on the district website helps us, helps people have access to the information and they can make their own decisions and go forth with that. This kind of information is always of value. There's been quite a lot of outreach from, or maybe input from the public, so more awareness of it is good. And then we can better understand this is freedom of information is basically what it is. People make their own decisions. So supporting that, I think, is worthy.
Councillor Shukin?
I would agree.
Yeah, and yeah, this is not part of the regional park. It is the Crown Land. CRD has come out and strongly opposed this as well. Al Wickham, the director for the Watafuka area, is also opposing all the applications. And I think it's a good idea that we put it on the website, and please also, as an ordinary citizen of Metchosin, make your comments known. There is a place there that you can actually comment and give comment rather than just filling out a form. The deadline for that is May 6th. Okay. Any other comments? No. I'll call the question. All in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you. Councillor Gray.
So the second motion I have here is that Mayor write a letter on behalf of Council to the Honourable Randine Neal, Minister of Water, Land and Resource Stewardship, copying our local MLA, Dana Lejeunesse, expressing opposition to these applications.
This is moved by Councillor Gray. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second for discussion.
Moved by Councillor Gray, seconded by Councillor Shukin. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would like Council to take a position on this application, as I've described already. As you pointed out, the local director for the Watafuka electoral area, Al Wickham, has taken a position opposed to the CRD.
So I'll just mention that I too have written in my my concerns in opposition to the application. What I wonder about though is, are we being as effective as possible in sending it to the minister and our MLA? Should we maybe not write something and submit it into the application process itself, and do that through yourself, Mayor Little?
Yeah, I agree, sort of, because I'm wondering if that correspondence to the minister, Minister Neal, will just be received for information and nothing done with it. Whereas if it goes through the process that they've asked everybody to respond to by May 6th, it may be documented and included with other letters of opposition. Councillor Gray.
I'm certainly open to a motion to do that as well, but I think that we should be speaking to the minister in particular, and we should absolutely be in touch with our MLA. So I take that and be happy to move a motion in the regard of also filling an application, but I don't think this is the sort of thing that would be set aside by a minister of the Crown coming from the district of Metchosin.
Okay, so you want the minister of, well, she's not just the minister of water, but is the minister of land and resource stewardship as well, and copying our MLA. Okay, any other questions? Go ahead.
Could I propose an amendment
Go ahead.
to the second motion? And it would be something like that the mayor send a letter on behalf of council through the Crown land application process and then provide that letter to the Minister of Land, Water, Land, Resource Stewardship and the MLA. So we the first thing we do is we state our position and put it into the process, again, where the decision is going to be based, and then send that to the minister and MLA.
Okay.
Because again, I think we have to talk about effectiveness, where like the decision is going to be made through the correspondence that goes to into the process. And I think why not send it to the minister as well?
Okay. So that's an amendment. Does anybody want to second the amendment? Seconded by Councillor Donaldson. Do you want to motivate further, Councillor Donaldson? No? Anybody else want to comment on this?
Well, I just love when I bring forward these motions that it's pretty simple. Sending a letter to the minister, we do it a lot. The minister's in charge of the process, minister of the Crown. He lets them know because we're another political body. So I would do that. I've offered that rather than this playing around with it, that we would also put it in the application if the mayor wants to attach it to her letter. But I think we should put a letter on letterhead from Metchosin with the mayor's signature on it saying we oppose the application. Anything less than that, I think, is not doing what we should do. I was going to suggest, so I'll stop there, but I was going to suggest we move a little bit further with the letter to the minister, and but we'll deal with this amendment first, I guess. But my idea was that we should also ask that this Crown land, in keeping with Karen Hoffman's comment to us, be moved from the province to the CRD for use as the park. That wouldn't go into the application, of course, but would go into a letter.
Yeah. I think what Councillor Shukin was saying is he wants our comments documented rather than just sending it to the minister's office and the MLA. The other people that are involved in the decision making will not see that. And I think he's not trying to dilute your motion in any way. He's just trying to add clarity to that. Like that's how I see it. You're nodding your head no, so you don't see that this is adding clarity and going through the right process.
No, I don't.
Okay. But they've asked people to respond to the portal. It's called application comments and reasons. So you don't think that that's the correct place to
I can continue to repeat myself, but I say I would send a letter and I would fill in the application because Councillor Shukin is concerned that people receiving the applications need that information. Great. So that's two things. One's a letter to the minister. The second is fill in the application on behalf of the community. Take a copy of that application if you like, put it to the letter. But I'd like to see a letter go in our letterhead to the minister.
Councillor Shukin.
I agree. The one thing I will say, though, is that missing here in terms of council directing, the mayor, is putting our comments and our thoughts into the process, which no, that if the minister, if you want to have your vote and your voice count in the process, you have to follow the process. It's my thinking. We can do that and also send it directly to the minister. So I'm supporting what you've asked here, Councillor Gray, but I'm also asking that we get this thing into the process. So
Yeah, I agree. I think it needs to go where it's going to be having the most impact, and that would be through the application comments and reasons. I have no problem writing a letter to the minister as well, so she knows that we have these concerns. Certainly, Director Wickham, the director for the Wandafuka area, where this is in East Souk, where this is Metchosin. He has strongly opposed that, as did the CRD itself. So the amendment that is on the floor is to also send the comments through the portal, through the applications, comments, and reasons for decision portal. That's the
Maybe I need that
amendment?
motion read again to me, I'm not clear.
Okay. The motion again, Councillor Shukin.
So this is an amendment to the first part, and it would be something to the effect of that the mayor send a letter on behalf of council through the BC Lands portal related to this application. Send that letter into the portal, and then provide that response and letter to the Honorable Randy Neal, Minister of Water, Land, Resource Stewardship, copying our MLA as well. So it's just an amendment to the first part, so we get it into the portal. And then move it on to the minister as well. I'm not even sure why we're talking about this.
Okay.
Yeah, it is going to, well, of course, yeah.
Actually, go through the
it's-
chair.
We
If
did-
you've
sorry.
got a comment, Councillor Shukin, go ahead. What, did you finish?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Yeah, the question was,
Councillor
why are we
Gray.
talking about it? Because amendments been put on the table. I'd offered that we pass the motion and then we put a motion, we put it in the portal. That wasn't acceptable, so we're doing this other thing, just wild.
No? Actually, I think it's good governance to deal with the amendment before you deal with the main motion. That's what we'll do. So the amendment as proposed, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Councillor Gray. Okay, so the main motion, that council write a letter on behalf of council, that they will be copied on that letter of opposition to the Crown Land Commercial General Use application in East Souk. Okay?
So before we do that, I'd like to make an amendment to the motion that just as Councillor Shukin's read, and then add to it, and also request the province transfer title of the Crown Land to CRD for use as a park.
You know, I don't know about that. We haven't received any reports, correspondence that
seconder.
hasn't been discussed at the CRD table. I'm not sure about that and the process to go about that.
If there's a second, I'll explain.
Do I have a seconder?
I'll second for discussion.
Yeah, Councillor Donaldson, second.
Yeah, so the issue here is that we have a pristine part of the coastline here that is within the CRD park, and it makes really good sense to me that that land all become part of the park. Several trails go through it today, and it would save this land from further applications for other commercial uses, and I think it makes good sense.
Councillor Donaldson first, since you seconded the motion.
Yeah, I don't know how far it would go, but I don't think there's anything wrong with suggesting that option. What we are looking at is, I believe, we're even in the first one, we're encouraging people to have input to remain the way it is, and it may stay that way. It doesn't hurt to suggest maybe it becomes a CRD park or whatever. Will somebody else be doing it ahead of us? I don't know. So these are some options. I think everybody agrees that we would like to see it stay pristine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if Councillor Gray, maybe you could suggest, or explain to me, are you asking for it to be rezoned to be something different than what it is, that maybe it just stays more as East Souk Park is?
Just as the motions would read, transfer title of the Crown Land to the CRD for use as the park.
Thank you.
Councillor Shukin?
I think this would be a fine addition to the letter, so I'm in support.
Yeah, I'm a little bit reluctant. I think it's a great idea. I'm just reluctant because this is a motion on the fly. Usually motions on the fly cause a whole bunch of different confusion. We haven't got a report on what the process would be. I think the intent and how it will be worded, the intent to preserve this land space to remain in its current situation, in its current form, and not be subject to these applications that come forward. Yeah, okay. Well, I'll call the question on that motion. All in favor? And that's unanimous. Okay. So with that, that's the end of the agenda. We have, this is before 9:30, we have time for question period. Should members of the public want to ask any questions, please come to the microphone and provide your name and your address or your street.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, staff, citizens. Dave Saunders, Sink Road. To the soil report, and I mean no disrespect, but we're pinching pennies in our budgets, but we've asked for external support to be granted. That, I assume, comes from consultants. So I can tell you from my business, when I hire a consultant, I give them parameters in which to report from. I didn't see or hear any parameters in which you're giving to staff that are busy, and I have respect for staff that they'll come in within budget, but I don't see any type of budget for the report, especially that it's been expedited. So I would suggest that it's either, I'm not sure what you would throw out there. I don't have the full knowledge of staff or what you're trying to achieve by this. So is it 5? Is it 10? Is it 15? Is it 20? So I think some parameters need to be put on that external support. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. At the beginning of the term, when we have new lawyers, the lawyer, Don Lidstone, recommended to us that we do a thorough bylaw review. And so one of the components of this sort of shoring up the loopholes, will be sending it to legal counsel for their input on an amendment to those bylaws. So that will be done as per usual. Go ahead. Did you want to comment, CEO Payette?
During our discussion with the legal, we typically have a discussion about the costs and make sure that they're not out of line and fit within our operating budget.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Gary Lam, Hackmore Drive. First question I have is, were there any accounting services provided by KPMG this year?
Through the chair? Nope, just the audit.
Okay, so there's no charges for accounting. It was all audit services. Good. Given, and this I don't know whether you can disclose it, but do you have a single level of materiality for the balance or for the consolidated statement of financial position and a separate materiality limit for the statement of operations?
So the materiality, as I recall from the report, was set at $200,000. Is that what you're referring to?
Well, yes. The point being, during the audit process, the auditor accumulates items going both ways, debits, credits, and at the end, they look at those and determine if there's anything that they feel is material that warrants disclosure in the financial statements. If not, they simply pass on it and disclose it to the CFO. In certain cases, you separate that level of materiality between the statement of financial position and the statement of operations. So,
Through the chair. So the mayor's correct. They just set the materiality overall at 200,000, and then on a transactional basis, it was 10,000.
Okay.
But there is nothing that wasn't, anything they identified was corrected for.
okay, the final question is to council. Has these draft statements presented by
KPMG.
CFO, have they been approved by council?
the statements that were available on this evening's,
Yes.
this is the audit report from
Yeah.
KPMG. So this
Well,
was,
no, the financial statements, not the audit reports.
okay,
I'm talking about the financial statements that were attached to the draft audit report.
CFO, thank you.
Through the chair. Not officially, we're still waiting on the final audit management report. And then once we've received their sign off on that, then council
Okay.
will adopt.
So that being said, to the extent that there's errors in these statements, there can be changes made?
Through the chair? Yep, there's still time.
Okay. There are some errors that in these statements, so I'll talk to the CFO with them.
Okay,
Thank you.
no problem.
Technology. Jennifer Burgess, Duke Road. I had questions, and a lot of them, though, are probably not questions, they're just comments, so I maybe should just save my comments. Bylaw 719. Speak quickly. Can't hear me. I better speak louder. So, Bylaw 719, can you give us a percentage for all the people who might be online wondering what the actual percentage is that we're voting on, the tax rate?
CFO Creek, if you could give the percentage and then the actual figure.
Through the chair. So the total tax increase for the district from the chosen this portion of the bill is 9.92%. Working out to about $143 per average residential property.
So $143 or $12.50 per month per average household.
Thank you. That was one of my questions. A couple of other questions quickly. We seem to be sitting waiting for a $7 million grant that we have no inkling of whether we get it or not, but we're counting on it, quite seriously counting on it. What are you planning if it's not received? And one comment I might make is that in order to go forward with our fire hall, we have to have funds defined. We have to know where they're coming from, and we don't. However, it's an election year. If we must go to a referendum, the most cost-effective way to hold a referendum is along with the election year. So I just put that in your thoughts for now, and leave it as another question for you, maybe an important one, because it has been 4 years and we need to have a fire hall. Now, a couple of ideas about, I guess, the 5-year plan. Nonprofits. Well, we did a pretty funny thing this year with some nonprofits, but here's an idea that came up during the whole conversation, and that was that you seriously researched what other municipalities are doing relative to their nonprofit taxation situation. It never came back to the table. It's a tough one, but other municipalities stage the changes in the tax rates. They don't do the sort of total one-off that this municipality ended up doing. And that was researched, never brought back as an idea. Maybe that's in your plan.
Maybe we'll stop there. CFO Creek, I know that you had looked at some of the other districts, the way that District of Sauk, for instance, capped their permissive tax exemptions at a certain percentages. Can you comment on that regarding other jurisdictions and how they handled the permissive tax exemptions?
Through the chair, thank you. Yes, a number of municipalities in the CRD will cap their permissive tax exemption value at a percentage of the total property tax revenue. So Souk did 1.75%. Over in North Saanich, I believe, it's 1.5%. And it kind of fluctuates from there depending on what it is. So right now, the district itself is giving out close to 2%, just in permissive tax exemptions. And then when you include the grants, leases, that type of thing, so we're up to close to 5% of total tax revenue being given to local groups. But more will come in June, July. We'll show the comparison to everybody else.
Thanks. And maybe one more question. I'm not sure if I got the right figure, but there's 2.3 million put into reserve this year. Was that the total that was added to reserve? And if it was the total, is that the equivalent of what was expended this year by reserve? Or how much over is being committed to reserve this year?
Through the chair. The 2.3 was based on the 2026 financial plan. I still need to come back with a report after these financial statements are finalized with the real surplus. The auditor was describing to council in a previous meeting where the surplus on these financial statements is just the accounting surplus, not the actual surplus of funding that we do have due to the difference in funding for capital projects. So the actual allocation right now is just the amortization, which was about $1.4 million. And then our surplus will be in that $600,000 to $800,000 range. So it could be close to 2.3, but it won't be all the way there.
Question was what was expended out of reserve too this year? Do you have that number? Or I know reserves are later in the year. You don't have to do them till June, July.
Nope. So out of reserve this year would have been just under 900,000.
Was withdrawn.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. All right. I'll probably leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you for your questions. Councillor Shukin.
If I can also just address Ms. Burgess's question. So in terms of the fire hall, so we're aiming to not sit still on the fire hall. And I forget when it was several months ago that we passed a motion directing our staff to do three things: to help find us resources so we can do a needs assessment, and also look at options as well and do some scenario planning. So I'm hoping that the process for looking at those three things, we see those, I've used the word expeditiously a number of times tonight, but hopefully soon.
We'll be watching. Thank you.
Great, so will we, yes.
Art Brendan, Chapel Heights Drive. I have a question for Councillor Shukin. As representative for the former school site, what do you consider to be a reasonable time frame for the process to make a decision on the sign, well, a sign, and a name for the school site? The process of going through this.
Yeah. I don't think I'm so much the representative of the school site. I'm the MACA rep and the Machosa Seniors Association rep. I did a report on the school site, so I mean, I've got, yeah. But to your point, the thing, again, that I heard from Councillor Donaldson is there's a good rationale for the sign and the name. It just needs to be shared. So what I would do is I would do a 2-pager, providing that rationale, the drawing of the sign, and I would send it to those who have a stake in the school. I'd also post it on the website, and I would allow for several weeks to provide comment and input, for people to provide comment and input. So again, and the important thing around all of this is the game. I hate this word in a way, but it does work. You socialize the concept that you're actually trying to convey. So right now it is just a discussion at the table and in this room. I have discussed it with several stakeholders who were lukewarm to the idea, but they weren't opposed to it. But again, some of that I think really does need to happen. But to your question, I would give it 6 weeks.
Well, Thank you for that. The reason I'm asking this is I just didn't want to see yet another delay, because I witnessed 2 years of back and forth and, articles in the Muse and solicitations for more commentary. And it hasn't, I'll be honest, it really hasn't gone anywhere. And I'm not talking about, I am talking about a sign and a name and identification. I think it's a transportation issue, for starters. It's also an identification or branding, some people say, for the community. And the use of the site, the commercial aspects of the site, but also the goods and services aspects of the site. And I think we're not helping, the community, if they're not involved, are not helping making these things a reality. And that's why I asked you, because you're the most knowledgeable. Well, you're on site quite often, and Sherry was before that. So thank you for your answer.
Does anybody else have any questions? Oh, sorry, go ahead, Councillor Shukin.
Did Mr. Brendan, if I can ask through you, did he do the drawing of the sign?
Yes, he did.
Oh, nice drawing, Mr. Brendan.
Oh, yes.
You want to come to the microphone? Art, did you have an additional comment?
Well, I have a lot of thoughts. They're primarily on the idea of wayfinding, and they're very contemporary. And I think that people think of a sign as it's just giving information, but signs are their identification, they're informational, and they're directional. Their accessibility. What I'm really aiming at is one that is linked to Google Maps, one that gives information through your smartphone, and that's wayfinding. Wayfinding is a QR code, the quick response code, where the information, you can book the gym on the QR code if it's on the sign, and people can stop and use their phones, find out what's open, when it's open, information, book appointments, find out what's going on with senior center. My idea is that everybody would be listed on the sign as goods and services, and then there would be one for events, which would obviously change monthly or bi-monthly, whatever we want it to have. So I think it's more than just, from my point of view, it's more than just, oh, well, we're going to stick a sign on the side of the road. If you've been through, probably all driven through Colwood, and we've seen the new CRD signs for the parks and trails as well. They're very effective because there's a consistency and a continuity in their signage. And that on their road signs, Colwood's done a really good job. They've really identified all the things that they find are important in their community for people to get around. And this is why I'm relating it to transportation, not just the site itself. The site itself, you can name whatever. I don't have a strong opinion on the naming of the site, but I do have a strong feeling about getting it done and getting it identified for the public to know what is there. Because I do get, like you probably do here, I get a lot of people asking me, well, who's doing what where and when's it happening? So the who, what, where, and when would be identified through that sign. And this is a technology that we all travel by. We have the Google Maps in our car, we have the smartphones. QR codes have been around since 1994, smartphones since 2007, and all that technology is come to us, easy to use. Most of us use it all the time without thinking, and that sign should incorporate those features into it. That's why my proposal is more than just simply a structure with a bunch of names on it. I think it has the potential to be a lot more than that, to be into the 21st century. And I designed the sign so they can be changed. So if things change, the sign can be changed as well without a lot of expense. So the actual structure of the sign matches with the other, the bike stand and the bus shelter as well. There's a cohesiveness of the design itself that fits into the village plan. Actually, there is an actual official village map and plan for the colors and identifiers. Anyway, I don't want to go on.
Mr. Brennan, so each particular sign that can be inserted and removed,
Yep.
that each one will have an attached QR code. So
Yes.
if it's listed Machosen Preschool, the QR code would be there.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
and if you don't have a QR code, you can download the QR codes. There's instructions how to have one and how to make one. I think now it's essential that more information be available. And the QR codes are brilliant because they don't take up a lot of space. You don't have to explain long, open 3 hours here or we're not in or whatever. The QR code can do all that for you and you can book through it. It just makes things a lot easier. And it also, when it's linked to Google Maps, it really, you've got everything on your phone ready there for you. And you know when you've arrived on the site. And then inside the facility can be the other identifiers of room numbers and the details of where people are. But you've got that, and it's on this road beside the parking lot. So,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you for that information. Okay, any other questions from the public at this time? Seeing no other questions, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. All in favor, opposed, carried. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for attending.